Howdy, with this essay, just want to show you how I grade papers. The grading sheets are getting a little longer, maybe a little more complicated. I just want to show you physically how I grade them, and then the process for arriving at the final grade for the essay. So what I do is I pull up your essays in Word, and I go into tracking function. That's why most of my commentary comes back to you in red. That's just how I have my computer set. But I just kind of start looking at the essay and start making my commentary. I use autocorrect for frequent errors, so it makes it a little faster to grade. So like here, you see a run together sentence, and I just have it set so I can hit a couple of keys and put that in there. There's another one. And I'll just kind of go through the essay and just make notations about where I'm seeing problems. Hopefully sometimes I'll write something good, but usually, unfortunately, I'm looking for problems so we can improve on our writing. That's the whole point of the class, right? But I'll just go through the essay and make my commentary. And when I get to the end, with my commentary, I'll go to the next page after the works citus page. And then I have a pre-made grading sheet that I copy and paste into it. So we'll do that. And then I start making my commentary about what I've marked in the essay. Need to get out of the tracking function for that. I'll pop that right up there. And then I'll go back and start making my commentary, hopefully writing things like good. Or I'm definitely going to start noting patterns of errors or areas where the essay is struggling a little bit. So if you're kind of missing that last part of section 4, I'd note that. I'd note if there's a problem with the academic plan, things like that. Then you'll start seeing me highlighting things up here. If you're having particular problems with it within the essay, like we saw a couple of run together sentences. But I just to go through and make my notes. If you're missing some required punctuation, there we go. I'm going to note that. I have a hard time with that chart there with keeping the margins right. And I'll kind of make an overall commentary. It's a pretty good essay overall. I'll write that. Decent essay overall. I'll write that. But with all this, I also assign it a letter grade. Now this is just the basic writing grade with the run together sentences. That's going to bring it down a little bit. That's a pattern of sentence structure we shouldn't have. This is not the final grade for the essay. This is just a basic writing grade. And, of course, I have to get to a number. But I'm grading this a little more holistically, kind of my overall impression. Hopefully, I'm justifying it with my commentary down here. But that's not the final grade for the essay. One theory behind grading is, one, you could take points off for every possible error. So every run together sentence would get 5 points off, or every misspelled word would get 2 points off, and on and on. The problem with that, if you have an otherwise good essay but the student just has problems with like run together sentences, they can end up with an F on the essay because just taking 5 points off for each possible error or each actual error. And I don't like to grade that way. Instead, what I do is I grade more holistically, where I kind of look at the overall effect of the essay, kind of give it a letter grade range, convert that to a number, and that's just the basic writing grade. And you also notice I break it down between organization and development and English. Sometimes you'll get an essay where the English is very good, but the student doesn't really say anything, or they're not meeting assignment guidelines, but the English is good. On the other hand, sometimes you'll get an essay where the organization and development is really good, but there's problems with the English. So I like to separate that out a little bit and make sure you see where problems are starting to happen there. But also, once you get the basic writing grade, we're not done yet. That's just 150 out of the 200 points for the essay. Then we come down here to documentation, and you'll start seeing those highlights again if you're having some problems. Generally, with the first MLA essay, like this career essay, you're going to have a few problems, right? You're learning MLA formatting. But I'll note problems down here. If you're not formatting summaries and paraphrases correctly, like it says in the commentary, you'll get loose points there. But then add up those points. Got a couple of its in there, use. You lose points there. So make sure you're getting those out. And these last two, the editing and the required punctuation, you want to be careful. You don't want to lose points down here. because all they do is lower your grade. But on the other hand, if you're doing these well, it'll raise your grade, right? I messed up there. And we'll note all these, so it'll be 7 out of 10. You kind of notice if you're missing some of the required stuff, it starts to have an effect on a negative effect on the essay overall. We're not going to worry about that. Then I add up all 4 of those grades. My handy dandy calculator. Sometimes I'll do it in my head, so always check my math. Make sure I'm adding up all these correctly. And end up with a 158. And keep in mind, 70% C, 80% is B, 90% in A, 79%. But then you'll see you want to look at the entire grading sheet. But again, the basic writing grade up here is not the essay grade. That's just the basic writing, kind of the holistic look at the essay, looking for all these possible, dealing with all these questions, and kind of coming up with an overall evaluation of the essay. But then the documentation, editing, required punctuation, those are fairly objective grades, right? They're either right or they're wrong, and it's pretty easy for me to support that. Taking off points there. So again, add up all 4 of those grades. That's where you get the grade at the bottom, and that's the final grade for the essay. Then I save that in PDF and send that back to you. And hopefully you look at it and kind of see where the errors are happening, and you work on it with the next essay, right? Grading is more of an ongoing conversation about your writing. Hope nobody feels like, oh my gosh, he's making a statement about me personally. No, it's just one essay out of the 4 we're doing here. But that's how the grading looks. If you have questions about it, let me know. If you think I've made an error, especially down here, and I can't search for ellipses. That function just doesn't work well in Word. So if I don't see one, I'll count it wrong. If it's there, tell me and get your points back. I love giving points back to students when I miss something like that. But you kind of start seeing the trick is to keep these points down here at the bottom. Make sure you're not losing too many points with the MLA formatting, the editing, or the required punctuation. And that's hard. It just takes practice and practice and practice. And that's why we're here. But if you have any questions, be sure and let me know, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.